Howdy folks, and welcome back to some more World of Tanks gameplay with General Lucky, and today we're following KLRnuker as he plays in his Panzer U100, also known as the jageroo U100. This tank has a massive gun, 170mm, 17cm. There's basically, the story behind this tank is the Germans had an idea, well, why don't we just take a gun off a naval ship and slap it on a tank? You know what they did? They did exactly that, and of course, I don't think this tank was ever put in prototype, but this was their idea. And you know what? It actually works out fairly well in this game. You know how you hate those pesky light tanks? Well, so doesn't the jageroo. 299mm of penetration, 1050 average damage, and if you load heat shells, then you get 420mm of penetration. HE has 85mm of penetration, 1400 average damage, and 4.5 meters of splash damage. Deciding to assist the hill a little bit, Nuker moves up and gets into this little position to hopefully have some shots up on the hill, but with that little broken up building there, he doesn't have too great of visions. The unfortunate side of this tank, however, is the fact that you cannot shoot without fully aiming. And these next two shots here, unfortunately for Nuker, prove that. Bouncing off the turret of a medium tank. Now as he's loading up, this Kranwagen is starting to poke on him, and the unfortunate side of that is the fact that, yeah, you gotta be pretty lucky in order to go through a Kranwagen hull down. And I mentioned two shots earlier, this is that second one. That both of those shots should have easily gone through, but unfortunately now Nuker has gone two shots without doing any damage, so that's over a minute and just reloading. Now it just kind of comes down to a game of cat and mouse, them backing up and poking Nuker, preparing, and then by the time he's aimed in, they're but the size 4 makes him a little bit of a mistake there and gives him a little taste. Oh. So now with the shots on the hill dwindling, Nuker decides to push down the 1-2 line and hopefully be able to take out that ship barn. But he was just down there, but he no longer is. He's creepily sneaking his 160, 180, no it's not, I'd say it's probably 160 ton tank, sneakily sneaking his sneaky tank across the wide open vast ranges, grazing through the fields of his enemies. I don't know where I'm going with this. Anyways, he just took out the Centurion Action 10. Probably something that guy was not expecting to have happen to him. And now he's teeter-tottering with the ship barn's clamps. I don't know. Not too great with words, I am. Yeah. The ship barn hits a little piece of 2x4, and apparently that's enough to stop a, 183mm shell. Love to have those 2x4s in my house. Somehow Nuker's shell manages to go through not dodge between all of them and go right into the guy. Now it comes down to Nuker, a T-30, and an artillery versus their 6 remaining tanks. And once again, that not aiming, or not letting your gun aim in all the way, unfortunately kind of screws Nuker a little bit. But he makes it work for him. He's actually able to have a half-decent reload with this tank because it goes from like a 30-second reload, and then he can drop it down to 22 or 20 to a 22-second reload. Unfortunately, his artillery isn't that great of a player. Doesn't wind up taking out the AMX-30, but the nice thing about having a 160-ton tank that has more ass armor than it does frontal armor. Fortunately, Nuker isn't taking advantage of that just yet, but now he is. Just a little love tap and he loses 51 hit points. It's something you should hopefully remember for future battles, Nuker, the Jagdpanzer 100 has 150 millimeters of rear armor, but 120 of side, and it's got 200 on the front. So the ass of this tank is almost as thick as the front. Problem is, it's not angled. Now I don't know what this Leopard PTA was thinking. I mean, he probably could have gotten an extra 2 shots into Nuker easily. Nuker decided to cap, then again so did the Leopard prototype on the enemy team. Or that could possibly be the STRV, but it's not. The T-30 was looking like he wasn't going to cap, and decides to come back and help him cap anyways. But once again, one of those situations I was talking about, this tank just doesn't go well if you don't aim each shot perfectly. And the snapshot, once again, doesn't pay off because the thing you gotta remember is the STRV is going to take 2 seconds to set up before he's able to shoot. Thankfully for Nuker, though, the guy doesn't take the hit and back off because it only takes him 1.25 seconds. So he most likely would have been able to get out of that situation had he just done it properly. And with the reset, they probably wouldn't have been able to cap it out, but thankfully the artillery joins in and they wind up all lovey-dovey happy capping. That battle, Nuker picked up an ace tanker, Hand of God, duelist, fire for effect, shell-proof, steel wall, high caliber, and a top gun. He was top for damage, top for kills, and top for experience on either team. He fired 11 shells, hit 9 pen 7, did 5,367 damage, 2,751 of which was from over 300 meters. He received 15 hits, 5 penetrated, 10 did not, did with 3,140 damage blocked by armor, didn't spot anybody, but he did damage 9 people and killed 6 of them. 476 assist damage and 33 points of base capture. After taxes, he pocketed about 17,000 silver. Congratulations to Nuker, although I don't believe that was your first ace tanker in that tank. I still think it's a rather difficult to ace tier 10 tank, so congratulations on that. I'll catch you guys in the next one.